When the first light of dawn brushes against the horizon, the world holds its breath. It is the sacred moment between what has been and what can be. The veil between the unseen and the seen grows thin, and the law that governs all life begins to stir. Speak now, for your words are seeds, and sunrise is the garden of new beginnings. At sunrise, every word is magnified by the rhythm of divine order. The air listens, the earth listens, the infinite mind listens. The law does not sleep. It waits for direction. It is your unseen servant, your silent architect, your obedient messenger. What you decree in faith at this holy hour begins to take form, multiplying quietly in the invisible realm, until it bursts forth as your visible supply. You do not beg the law to give. You speak the truth, and the law obeys. You are not pleading for increase. You are commanding alignment with it. For increase is not something to be chased. It is something already yours by right of consciousness. When your words are filled with faith instead of fear, the law takes those words and molds them into gold, opportunity, and favor. Say to yourself as the sun rises, divine substance is now pouring into everything I do. I am in tune with the law of increase, and everything I touch prospers. Speak it not as hope, but as fact. Speak it not to the winds, but to the law that never forgets. The law is exact. It records your belief and reflects it without fail. If you speak lack, you set the law to work producing lack. If you speak abundance, you set it to work creating increase. The law does not choose, it only reflects. Just as a mirror cannot show you wealth when you stand before it in poverty of thought, so too the law cannot reflect prosperity unless you see yourself prosperous in the inner realm first. Each morning, as the sun climbs higher, it brings light not only to the world but to your mind. Let that light cleanse every word you have spoken in fear. Forgive the old speech of limitation, and begin again. The law does not hold grudges. It responds anew to every fresh decree. Speak words of faith as though the thing you desire already stands before you, radiant and complete. When you say, "Everything I give comes back multiplied," the law sets itself in motion to bring that truth alive. When you bless your work, your money, your relationships, you awaken the hidden increase within them. There is increase folded into every good thing, waiting only for your recognition to unfold. There are no idle words. Every statement is a mold, and the law fills it. Every declaration shapes your world. Speak not of what you lack, but of the overflowing current of good that is forever moving toward you. The law brings increase to the one who blesses, not to the one who complains. It multiplies the seed of gratitude, not the thorn of resentment. So as you watch the sunrise, speak into the stillness with calm authority. I am one with divine increase. The substance of the universe is friendly to my cause. All that I do is multiplied and prospered by the law of good. My words are seeds of expansion, and I plant them in perfect faith. Let your tone carry certainty. Let your heart be steady. The unseen forces respond to conviction, not doubt. The law is not moved by emotion, but by faith-filled speech aligned with truth. Your part is to speak, the law's part is to fulfill. Every sunrise brings a fresh account. Yesterday's depths of doubt are cancelled when you rise in faith today. The law does not count your past. It counts your present consciousness. It does not care how long you have struggled, how many mistakes you have made, or how far you have fallen. The moment you align with divine order, increase begins its quiet march toward you. The trees do not strive to grow, they expand by the law. The rivers do not labor to flow, they move by the law. And so must you prosper by the same law, without strain, without fear, without chase. You are not meant to force abundance. It is meant to flow through you as naturally as breath. At sunrise, speak to the law as one who knows their power. The law of increase governs my life. I give thanks that every good and perfect thing is unfolding for me now. My supply is constant, my success inevitable, my good unending. Say it until you feel it vibrate in your bones. Say it until your doubts dissolve. The moment your feeling matches your words, the invisible begins to move. The unseen substance arranges itself into form. New doors open. Old barriers vanish. The law brings increase because it cannot do otherwise when commanded by faith. Speak this at sunrise. Speak it until your world reflects the light you hold. For every time you align your word with truth, the universe conspires to expand your good. The law brings increase, not because you strive, but because you speak in faith, act in gratitude, and trust the divine order that never fails. At sunrise, the world stands in stillness, waiting for direction, and it is in that sacred pause that your words hold the most power. The universe listens closely in the early light, for morning is the language of creation. When you speak at sunrise, you are not merely forming sentences. You are setting the tone for the day, impressing your consciousness upon the law that governs all things. The law is the silent builder of every outcome in your life, and it takes its orders from the words you release. To speak at sunrise is to command the invisible forces of abundance, to tell divine substance exactly what shape to take. Every phrase is a seed, and every belief behind it is the soil from which your harvest grows. You do not need to convince or plead. You need only to align your word with the truth of increase. The first light carries spiritual electricity, a subtle charge that awakens not only nature, but the consciousness of humanity. It is at this hour that your words are most alive, for they harmonize with the rhythm of renewal. The night has gathered your doubts, your exhaustion, and your old thoughts, but the morning brings clarity and power. The law listens to you through vibration, not emotion, and the vibration of faith spoken in the stillness of dawn reaches far beyond what the human mind can calculate. When you say, "The law brings increase to everything I do," the unseen forces immediately begin aligning circumstances, people, and ideas to bring that truth to life. The key is to speak with authority, not hesitation. The law obeys faith, not fear. The one who understands the power of early words never rises in silence of spirit. They greet the day as a co-creator, not a spectator. They know that as the sun stretches across the sky, so too their words stretch across the realm of possibility, forming patterns that shape the hours ahead. When you wake and declare that divine substance fills your path, you are claiming dominion over the day. You are instructing the law to move in harmony with your vision. The morning light magnifies intention, and every statement made in faith becomes a living decree. You are not simply describing your life, you are designing it through your spoken word. To speak at sunrise is to set your spiritual compass toward increase. It is to remind yourself and the universe that you are not subject to circumstance, but aligned with divine order. The law does not question who you are. It responds to what you believe you are. If you declare yourself lacking, the law multiplies lack. If you declare yourself blessed, the law multiplies blessing. The difference lies not in outer resources but in the words you choose to release into the field of creation. Words are living seeds, and the soil of morning is rich with energy. The wise know this and plant deliberately, speaking with precision, with conviction, and with gratitude. When you speak at sunrise, imagine your words as rays of light extending into every corner of your life. The law takes those rays and constructs the form of your belief. It begins to draw together opportunities, ideas, and divine timing to reflect the image you've spoken. Nothing said in truth is ever lost. It echoes through the spiritual fabric until it finds expression. The secret is not to speak from the evidence of your senses, but from the vision of your faith. Say, "The law brings increase," even when there is no proof before you, and soon the proof will come, for the unseen precedes the seen. Every sunrise is a fresh covenant between you and the divine law. It wipes clean the night's fears and renews your authority. When you rise and speak words of increase, you re-establish your connection to infinite supply. The world may tell you to plan, to strive, to hustle, but the law works through alignment, not anxiety. When your word is in tune with divine truth, all effort becomes effortless. Doors open because your vibration opens them. People favor you because your energy calls forth favor. Ideas flow because your faith clears the channels. You do not chase money or opportunity. You speak the word that magnetizes both to you. The law is exact and impartial. It does not play favorites, but it does obey order. And the highest order of life is expansion. Everything in the universe grows, multiplies, and expresses more. The same current that causes a flower to bloom, or a river to widen moves through you. When you speak at sunrise, you are commanding that current to move in your favor. The morning air carries your decree into the unseen, where divine intelligence interprets and fulfills it. Say, "Everything I do prospers," and that vibration becomes a pattern in the spiritual realm, which the law then translates into visible conditions, new opportunities, increased income, greater peace, expanded influence. There is power in repetition. To speak the same truth every morning is not routine, it is mastery. Each declaration strengthens the bridge between the invisible and the visible. The more consistently you speak the language of increase, the more the law recognizes your vibration as authority. Over time, it becomes your natural state. You do not need to remind yourself to speak abundance. It flows from you as easily as breath. The morning becomes a sacred appointment with creation itself. The sun rises, and so does your word. The light expands, and so does your good. The great secret of the law is that it responds to certainty, not desperation. Many speak words of hope, but few speak words of command. The difference is subtle yet profound. Hope asks, faith declares. Hope waits, faith acts. When you speak at sunrise, speak not as one wishing, but as one knowing. Say, increase is the law of my life. Everything I give multiplies. Everything I touch expands. The law does not delay. It responds instantly to recognition. From that moment, unseen processes begin arranging the visible reflection of your word. You may not see it yet, but it is already forming, because the law cannot return void what has been spoken in truth. Every morning, the world renews its covenant of life. The birds sing because they trust the law to provide their food. The flowers open because they trust the sun to return. You, too, must rise in that same trust. Speak with the calm knowing that your word is law to your world. You are not separate from the divine system. You are an active part of it. As you declare increase, you activate your rightful place within the current of abundance. The law cannot deny you because it does not recognize denial. It only reflects expression. At sunrise, all of nature expands in silence, but you as a conscious creator, expand through the spoken word. Speak not idle phrases, but living truths. Let your speech be filled with divine confidence. Feel the warmth of the sun upon your face, and know that the same energy that animates the world also animates your vision. The light that awakens the earth is the same light that brings your desires to life. The law listens for your tone, not your timing. It moves according to your faith, not your frustration. Speak early, speak clearly, and let the law begin its work long before the world has stirred. There is no greater moment of power than that quiet hour between darkness and dawn. The universe waits for your instruction. The air vibrates with expectancy. The law is ready to be commanded. When you speak at sunrise, you are writing the script for your day and the pattern for your life. The law brings increase because it must. It is the nature of all creation to expand. Your only duty is to speak with faith, to release your word into the morning light, and to know that it is done in the invisible the moment you declare it. The law of increase moves in exact accordance with your inner belief, multiplying whatever you hold as truth. It is not the outer world that governs your prosperity, but the vibration of conviction within you. The law listens not to what you say in words alone, but to the feeling that underlies them. When your belief and your speech align, the invisible realm rushes to reproduce your conviction in form. To say, I am prosperous, while feeling fear or doubt is to give the law two opposing instructions. It receives both, and the result becomes confusion or stagnation. But when you speak and feel as one, the law becomes a faithful mirror, magnifying your belief until it takes visible shape in your affairs. Every experience you encounter is a reflection of what you believe possible for yourself. The law does not question, interpret, or reason. It fulfills. It is as exact as arithmetic and as impartial as the sunrise. If your inner picture is one of limitation, the law enlarges limitation, for it multiplies the seed planted in consciousness. If your inner picture is one of increase, joy, and abundance, then that becomes the pattern the law expresses. The outer world is simply a photograph of your inner conviction, and each thought you repeat is a brushstroke shaping the image. The universe is not random, it is mathematical. It multiplies what you hold in attention, whether faith or fear. The power that governs your life is not found in circumstance, but in belief. You may speak words of wealth and still attract struggle if the deeper conviction within you whispers, I do not deserve it. The law cannot be deceived by phrases. It responds to vibration. The moment your belief matches your word, creation begins to unfold. This is why faith is the true currency of the invisible realm. It is not effort, talent, or chance that determines your supply, but the degree of belief with which you declare your truth. To the one who believes without wavering, the law becomes a servant of increase. To the one who doubts, the same law becomes a reflection of lack. The law is constant, only your belief changes its direction. When you look at your life, you are looking at your beliefs in motion. Every opportunity, every delay, every rise and fall has its root in some conviction you have spoken or silently accepted. The good news is that belief is not fixed, it is trainable. You can teach your consciousness to expect more. You can dissolve old patterns of scarcity by replacing them with daily declarations of truth, spoken in faith. The mind becomes conditioned to what it repeats. Speak increase every morning until your heart begins to believe it, as easily as it believes the sunrise will return. When belief reaches certainty, the law multiplies it instantly. The law of reflection is merciless in its precision but merciful in its promise. It never punishes. It only produces. It does not say yes or no, it says, as you believe. When you hold gratitude, the law returns gratitude's harvest. When you hold resentment, it multiplies resistance. You are never a victim of outer conditions because conditions are the fruit of inner thought. The moment you choose a new belief, the law begins to adjust everything to match it. The field of possibility rearranges itself silently, sometimes invisibly, until the new image stands before you as fact. The law cannot fail to bring forth what you persistently hold as true. This is why the secret of increase is inner certainty. You must see yourself as already in possession of the good you desire. The universe does not respond to want, it responds to recognition. When you believe that abundance is your natural state, you no longer send forth vibrations of need, but of fulfillment. The law hears fulfillment and brings more to fulfill. The magnetic field of your belief draws to you people, ideas, and events that harmonize with your conviction. The mind that knows it is blessed cannot attract loss. The heart that knows it is guided cannot attract confusion. The belief of increase becomes a beacon, calling forth corresponding forms from the unseen. The law multiplies not just your words but your emotional tone. When you affirm prosperity but carry the energy of fear, the vibration of fear overpowers the statement. It is not repetition alone that creates but repetition soaked in faith. You must feel your declaration as already accomplished. When you say, "The law brings increase," feel the joy as though it has already happened. That feeling is the signal the universe understands. The more vividly you feel the state of abundance, the faster the reflection appears. The law does not delay, only disbelief delays the reflection. The world outside you is your speaking made visible. Every result has its root in a thought once accepted as real. This is why mental discipline is sacred work. Guard your belief as carefully as treasure, for the law enlarges whatever you give attention to. If you focus on what is missing, you multiply absence. If you focus on what is working, you multiply progress. The universe cannot discern between what you desire and what you fear. It only reads the energy of focus. Speak abundance, believe abundance, and the law will multiply abundance, because that is the pattern you have impressed upon it. To believe is to give divine permission for increase to flow. The moment belief and speech unite, the invisible begins to organize itself. You may not see the movement, but it is there, as real as roots beneath the soil. Every new thought of faith plants a seed, every repetition waters it, every act of gratitude calls forth its bloom. When belief becomes steady, manifestation becomes natural. It is not the shouting of many words that moves the law, but the quiet authority of inner knowing. You can whisper in perfect faith, and the universe will rearrange itself to fulfill your decree. The law is the servant of your conviction. It is not personal, yet it is intimate. It mirrors you without distortion, magnifying the strongest vibration you hold. If that vibration is doubt, it reflects confusion. If that vibration is peace, it multiplies harmony. You cannot demand abundance from a state of fear, for the law can only expand the state you occupy. To attract wealth, you must think from wealth. To attract opportunity, you must think from opportunity. The law brings to you not what you wish, but what you are in consciousness. This is why the inner world is the workshop of all outer success. You can labor endlessly in the physical world and still find frustration if the inner pattern is one of limitation. But when belief is aligned, effort becomes ease. The law goes before you, preparing ways, opening doors, and arranging synchronicities beyond human logic. The universe bends toward your conviction. Your belief writes the code of your reality. Every time you affirm, the law brings increase to me, and truly feel it, the code shifts, the vibration lifts, and the reflection begins to shimmer into form. The difference between the one who thrives and the one who struggles lies not in circumstance, but in belief. The thriving soul believes in increase as natural law. They expect growth as naturally as they expect daylight. They know that even in apparent loss, the law is rearranging the field for greater gain. This unshakable belief acts as a magnet, drawing multiplied good to them from every direction. The struggling soul, on the other hand, believes in resistance, and so resistance grows. The law simply says yes to both, multiplying the seed each has planted in thought. When you understand that belief is the architect of your life, you begin to speak with purpose. Every word becomes a declaration of truth, rather than a reaction to appearance. You no longer describe what is. You decree what must be. You speak not as a beggar but as a creator, not as one hoping for good, but as one commanding alignment with good. The law has no choice but to respond, for it is bound by your belief. It is your silent servant, shaping substance into the likeness of your conviction. Hold firm to your belief in divine increase. Let no outer evidence shake it. The law reflects your persistence, even when results seem delayed. The pattern is forming in the invisible. Keep speaking truth, keep feeling abundance, and your world will rise to meet the vibration of your belief. For the law cannot return void what is spoken in faith, and believed without wavering gratitude, and divine certainty are the twin frequencies that magnetize abundance without effort. For they align your heart and mind with the rhythm of universal law. Gratitude opens the gate, and certainty keeps it open. Together they form an invisible current that draws to you every good thing that belongs to your vibration. When you are grateful, you are acknowledging that you already possess the essence of what you desire. Gratitude is not the emotion of waiting, it is the recognition of having. It is a declaration that the unseen supply is already moving toward you, and this recognition itself multiplies the flow. The law of increase responds instantly to gratitude because gratitude affirms life. It is the vibration of completion, and the universe always expands upon that which is recognized as complete. Every time you express true thankfulness, you are telling the law that you have received, and in response, the law says, "Then more shall be given." Gratitude places you in harmony with the creative order. It dissolves resistance and lifts you above complaint and doubt, which block the natural flow of good. The one who gives thanks even before the evidence appears is the one who understands the spiritual secret of manifestation. The universe mirrors your inner tone. If your tone is gratitude, the mirror shines back increase. The more you give thanks for what you have, and what is unseen, the more the unseen becomes visible. Gratitude is faith in motion, faith that has already accepted its good as reality. Divine certainty is the still strength that accompanies gratitude. It is the knowing beyond reasoning, the inner calm that refuses to be shaken by appearances. Certainty does not argue with reality, it declares truth over it. When you hold divine certainty, you are no longer begging for outcomes, you are affirming divine law already at work. Certainty carries authority. It tells the invisible, "This is already done," and the invisible must comply. The universe respects conviction. When your energy is rooted in unshakable faith, circumstances rearrange themselves to match that energy. Divine certainty does not mean arrogance, it means alignment with truth. It is the quiet assurance that what belongs to you cannot be lost, delayed, or denied. Gratitude and certainty together create an irresistible magnetic field. Gratitude draws abundance to you, and certainty holds it in place. You cannot attract increase if your emotions shift between faith and fear, for the vibration becomes unstable. But when your gratitude is genuine and your certainty unwavering, the law of increase finds a clear path through which to deliver its blessings. Imagine a radio tuned perfectly to one frequency. There is no static, no interference. That is the state of harmony created by gratitude and divine certainty. It is not striving but resting in knowing. It is not wishing but recognizing. The more consistently you remain in this state, the faster your good manifests. The ungrateful heart repels abundance because it focuses on what is missing rather than what is given. Complaining speaks the language of lack, and the law can only multiply the vibration it receives. But gratitude shifts the focus to fullness. When you give thanks for small things, you prove to the universe that you are ready for larger ones. The person who appreciates the coin will soon hold the gold, for the law enlarges everything that is blessed. Each thank you becomes a signal of readiness. When gratitude becomes your habit, increase becomes your companion. You no longer need to chase what is yours. It finds you naturally because your vibration invites it. Certainty strengthens gratitude by anchoring it in faith. To be certain is to stand firm in the invisible when appearances tempt you to waver. The world of form changes constantly, but divine law never changes. The one who understands this truth walks calmly through uncertainty, because they know that the law of good is always at work beneath the surface. When you say, "I am provided for," and mean it, the universe begins to move in unseen ways to fulfill that statement. Certainty gives power to your word. It is the invisible force that makes the law obey. The moment you stop doubting and start knowing, the current of supply accelerates toward you. Gratitude keeps your attention on abundance. It trains your consciousness to see increase everywhere. Even in difficulty, gratitude finds the seed of good and blesses it until it grows. Divine certainty, meanwhile, reminds you that no effort is wasted, no delay is denial, and no prayer is unheard. When you combine both, you rise into the vibration where miracles appear ordinary. Your energy becomes magnetic, your presence peaceful, your mind creative. Opportunities come not because you pursue them, but because they are drawn by the frequency you emit. The one who lives in gratitude no longer competes for blessings. They cooperate with them. They bless the prosperity of others, knowing that every good they see is proof of the same law working in their favor. Gratitude removes envy, for it recognizes the infinite nature of supply. There is no shortage in divine substance, only in perception. Certainty reinforces this by reminding you that your portion is secure. You need not hurry or fear missing your moment. What is yours cannot pass you by when your faith is steady. Gratitude fills your heart, certainty anchors your soul. Together, they make you a living magnet for increase. The vibration of gratitude is warm and expansive. It opens channels you did not know existed. When you give thanks for your business, your health, your relationships, you awaken the sleeping potential within them. When you give thanks for unseen opportunities, you activate them. When you give thanks for supply, you invite more supply. Every thank you carries creative power. The energy of gratitude is abundance acknowledging itself. It is the spiritual echo of creation saying, "It is good." The law of increase hears that echo and expands it infinitely. Divine certainty gives gratitude direction. Without certainty, gratitude can fade into fleeting emotion. But with certainty, it becomes a declaration of truth. You begin to thank not only for what you see, but for what is forming beyond sight. You thank for the answered prayer that has not yet appeared, knowing it already exists in the unseen. This level of faith collapses time, for the universe responds immediately to conviction. Certainty compresses process. It draws outcomes from the realm of potential into the realm of manifestation. When you awaken each morning, speak words of gratitude before you move. Thank the law for its constant activity in your life. Thank the divine for guiding your steps. Thank every visible and invisible force working on your behalf. Feel the certainty that all good is unfolding perfectly. Gratitude is your language of alignment. Certainty is your language of authority. Together they create a symphony the universe cannot resist. Your faith becomes music, your words become rhythm, and abundance dances to their sound. To live in gratitude is to live in the presence of supply. To live in certainty is to live in the consciousness of divine order. When you hold both, struggle dissolves. You stop wondering how or when, for you know the law already knows. You give thanks not because you are polite, but because you are powerful. You are affirming harmony with the infinite source that never ceases to give. Gratitude keeps your vibration lifted. Certainty keeps it steady. Gratitude is the key that opens the gate. Certainty is the lock that keeps it open. When you practice this daily, the invisible begins to unfold visibly. People call it luck, timing, or coincidence, but you will know it as divine law responding to your alignment. The grateful heart becomes radiant. It emits signals that attract favor. The certain mind becomes calm. It allows divine ideas to flow without interference. You begin to notice that things once difficult now come with ease. Solutions appear effortlessly, doors open naturally, and what you once pursued now pursues you. The secret of effortless magnetism lies not in ambition, but in appreciation. Gratitude declares, "I already have," and the law adds to that declaration. Certainty declares, "It is done," and the law confirms it. Together they form the sacred formula for increase. They transform your consciousness from one of seeking to one of knowing. You no longer plead with the universe. You harmonize with it. You no longer measure time, you measure faith. The law of abundance recognizes this vibration instantly. For it is the same vibration from which all creation began. Gratitude and divine certainty are the frequencies of the Creator. And when you dwell in them, creation rushes to serve you.